Thank you, Deputy Speaker. 2 weeks ago, Energy Minister Chris Bowen scoffed at the Coalition's efforts to bring the fuel crisis to his attention. There was no problem, he said. Fuel supplies were as high as they've ever been in Australia, he said. At the very time he handed us these platitudes, farmers across the electorate of Parkes were living a very different truth. Due to the war overseas and the false security of those opposite, they were being told they could have no access to fuel. And we all know that a farm with no fuel is not a farm, it's a business at a standstill. No ability to produce food, no ability to produce fibre. Almost 3 weeks ago, I started hearing from desperate farmers and desperate independent fuel wholesale distributors in my electorate. Last Friday, we heard there were 80 petrol stations across New South Wales without diesel. And today, in question time, we heard the Minister update the House that the number of stations without diesel or petrol had sharply risen. The price of fuel also commonly is in excess of $3 a litre. On the weekend, we heard 6 fuel tankers due to deliver to Australia had been cancelled or deferred. Again, I quote Mr Bowen, "There is no problem. This is just a bump in the road due to panic buying." Deputy Speaker, the bump in the road soon won't matter because people won't have the fuel to access that bump. There is very clearly a supply chain issue here. And even after this Labor government acknowledged there was a problem, they have not done enough to fix it. Australia is a big country. We not only need fuel to travel it, but to get our goods to market, to access emergency care, to work on machinery and to keep our country running. Independent fuel distributors are critical for the supply for communities across the Parkes electorate, whether that is supplying our towns, our villages, our cities, or bulk fuel supplied directly to farmgate, transport companies or to industry. The Albanese government have chosen to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to the calls from these businesses over the past 3 weeks as they plead for assistance to keep the fuel flowing and their businesses solvent. This morning, I spoke to one of these distributors who told me that he now must take drastic measures to keep his business from folding and park up tankers and lay off staff because the normal fuel supply chains won't or can't allow supply. Who's telling the truth? My distributors, who are on their knees begging for help, or the Climate Change Minister, Chris Bowen?